spotlight. We have a new edition today that is returning vendors. Actually, I have the honor of having on my show today Danae and Carla, and they are a team who work with BodyTalk and hypnotherapy together and have some amazing results. The thing that we'll be chatting about today is connecting the heart to the self through hypnotherapy, and then together how they complement each other. And then Carla will also be chatting about discussing how BodyTalk helps with balancing hormones, neurotransmitters, and the immune system. So welcome to the show. If you're watching on a replay, please go ahead and type replay in the comments below. If you have any questions for Carla and Danae, please use the comments and comment in there. We will try to get to them all today. So welcome all Facebook viewers and YouTube viewers to the show. So let's get started. I'll bring in both Carla and Danae. Oops. There we go. What am I doing? You think I haven't done this before? All right. So Danae and Carla, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me again today. So yeah, let's just dive right in and get started on what we're here to talk about today. So Danae, would you like to go ahead and start?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Carly, for bringing us back. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it's always such a pleasure to be at the Holistic Market and downtown Kelowna at the Laurel Packing House. Super, super, super fun. So what we'd like to talk about today is how hypnosis and BodyTalk can bring your heart connection back, whether it's out of balance or needs to be established or anything like that. And hypnosis, for those of you that don't know, hypnosis is a natural state that our bodies go in and out of all the time. So it's not something that I do. We go in and out of hypnosis, like I said, all the time. When you daydream, if you ever get so involved in something that you lose track of time, that's a hypnotic state. When you fall asleep at night, as you start to relax and your body starts to slow down and your mind starts to slow down, and your brainwave is dropping from beta down into alpha, into theta, and then into delta. And once you get into delta, you're actually sound asleep. So ideally, you like to be in theta, and that's what I like to call the little sweet spot. And so hypnosis is the state that you go into. Hypnotherapy is what we do when you're in that state. And a hypnotherapy session will shift and change depending upon what it is that you're looking for. But today we're going to talk about how it brings the body, the mind, and the soul connection back into balance or establishes it. And it can get knocked out of balance by everyday life. So just being really, really, really busy. We get busy, we forget to stop, we forget to take time for ourselves. It can get knocked out of balance by trauma, whether that be a car accident, even a slip and fall, any sort of abuse, that kind of thing. And even our upbringing, depending on how we were raised and how we were brought up, that has a great influence on our connection to ourself. And how hypnosis does that is it creates harmony between the language of the mind, which is our thoughts, and the language of our body, which is our feelings. And personally, I love the way Dr. Joe Dispenza describes it. He says when we think a thought, it creates a chemical, our brain produces a chemical, and then our body has a feeling. And we have that feeling, and then it gets easier to think that thought. So we have this whole cycle. And a lot of times we can try to make a change, and it's hard to make that change. We'll have these great thoughts and these great intentions, and then all of a sudden it's good for a day or two, maybe a week, maybe even 3 weeks, and then pretty soon we find ourselves slipping back into our old patterns and our old habits. And that's our body's kind of going, well, no, it's you're supposed to feel this and you're supposed to feel that. And it's really hard to overcome a thought when you have a feeling that creates that thought. So I hope everybody follows me on that.
Yeah, that was really clear, I thought.
Awesome.
Thank you for explaining that, because I learned from that as well. I was like, oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
So that's where I am when I'm starting to drift off, and like I'm starting to feel like I'm in dreamland almost a bit. Like it's just those stages of going deeper into the subconscious, or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Into the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then, Carla, do you want to talk a little bit about BodyTalk and how BodyTalk does that? Helps that?
BodyTalk is a energy medicine. It is an integrative medicine that weaves together your anatomy, your physiology. It works on mental, physical, emotional states of your entire body. And it has Chinese medicine, a combination of Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Reiki, quantum physics even into it. And there are a lot of factors in the body, mind, spirit complex as what we are, correct? Weight, for example, is a big issue with a lot of people. Weight and metabolism, I'm working on that right now, learning more about it. And it isn't necessarily what you eat or how you eat, but if your microbiome is out of balance, or your hormones are out of balance, or your neurotransmitters aren't exactly going to the right spot, you can gain weight for no reason. And I've heard women saying, I only have to drink a glass of water and I gain weight. So it's not necessary what you eat. Also, pharmaceuticals can do a lot of damage to your body. And we all have had many bouts of antibiotics throughout our life, right? Which ruin your microbiome. And then it cannot function properly anymore. So the body talk system works on all those issues, and on top of it, also the epigenetic. Our human DNA is basically the same. We're all having the same human DNA, but we can manipulate the markers and the RNA that is on top of the basic DNA. That makes us different from one another. Our markers, DNA markers, and strands. And if we work with that, we can heal a lot of issues and terminal illnesses that are considered incurable according to the allopathic system. So it's a very interesting and very complex way of dealing and working with people to heal and treat their bodies. Like our body have 23,000 genes, for example, and every gene has different markers. So I cannot say, oh, if we work on this specific part, you will experience that specific result. It doesn't work like that. So here's a perfect example. Children of a Nazi concentration camp survivors, they inherit the trauma their parents have been through, and they show a much higher rate of PTSD than other children, for example. Or if you've had horrors in your life, you have had traumas in your life, all that is part of your epigenetics in the end. So the epigenetics plus the microbiome are two systems that we can work a lot on to make the body whole and function completely in one unit again. And if you combine that with the hypnotherapy, we find that while a person is having hypnotherapy, they are extremely relaxed, which means I can do a lot more work than if they're wide awake and they're focusing on other things. And vice versa. When I do energy work on a person, Danae can get a much deeper into hypnotherapy sessions, in deeper into the hypnosis. Right? Chemicals and pesticides is another sector. I mean, I remember when I was a child, they would spray DDT on the fields around us, and we would just walk around right into it, not knowing anything wrong about it, until they finally banned it in 1972 because people were having severe issues with that. But now that all comes out, right? Eventually, the body gets into an overload, and then we have to do something about it. And the body talk system and the hypnotherapy system is very, how would I call it? How it's not, you don't take pills, You don't take medication. You don't do anything special. It is just working with the body on an energetic level on both, for both of us, both hypnotherapy and body talk.
I like it because it brings the body and the mind and the soul. It's actually a true holistic approach. It
Absolutely.
it addresses everything, you know. And when you're in
Yeah,
hypnosis, your immune system automatically works better. That's why when you're sick, you want to sleep, because that's when your
exactly.
body is the
Yeah,
most effective and the most efficient at healing. So you may as well, if you're going to already be in that wonderfully relaxed state, your immune system's already going to get fired up, having somebody work on the physical body at the same time just makes sense to me anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes, it's
that does make a lot.
non-invasive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some viewers here, and some of them are returning viewers. So I just want to acknowledge them and just say a quick hello here. We've
Oh,
got
yeah.
Annie
Yeah.
Matheson. Hi, Annie. Thanks for
Hi.
joining us again. And Sherry is here as well. She's saying,
Hi,
hi,
Sherry.
ladies. Hi. So if you have any questions for
Oh,
Carla and
Cherry, yes.
Danae, yeah, if you have any questions, please certainly post your comments in there, and we will try and get to them today. And if you're watching on the replay, you can type in the comments too, because that is what we are all about here, is like interacting with our audience and trying to get some information out there so that helps everybody on their path to wellness. And actually the next holistic market where you can come and see Carla and Danae in person is on Sunday, February the 23rd. It is in Kelowna, BC, in Canada. It's from 11 till 4 at the Laurel Packing House, downtown Kelowna, and it is free admission. You can also view Carla and Danae's and all the other vendors' profiles online at holisticmarket.ca. That's where you'll find contact info, a little bit of a bio and history about them, and get to know who's going to be at the next Holistic Market and Psychic Fair. So so I'll bring Carla and Danae back on here, and their contact info is also available online, as well as you can reach them both through Danae's website at, actually, Danae, maybe you can say the pronunciation of this.
NeaHypno.com.
Thank you. NeaHypno.com. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you said that. So
My pleasure.
So we were in the description here that we put out today, we were talking about how the connection of the heart and the self is attainable through hypnotherapy, and how they do complement each other. And actually, I really kind of got it when Carla, when you were talking about that, how, like, why it works so well together, that with Danae allowing the hypnotherapy to come in to have that calmness of mind, and then to be in that state of being in a healing state, and then having the healing done. That just makes so much sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I find it like our soul wants to feel good. That's its natural state. It wants to feel good. So when you go into hypnosis and you're in that wonderfully relaxed, comfortable space, your brainwave slows down and it essentially clears the slate. It's like, I can finally just set it all down. And how I use the hypnosis to bring you back to your heart is, again, a lot of that depends upon the conversation and it depends upon the person. That's what your body and soul and your mind actually want to feel. They want to be in that space. So there's a lot of awareness focused on the heart. Again, it depends on each individual person, but bringing the breath in and out of the heart, focusing on an emotion, allowing yourself to feel a positive emotion. How do you want to feel? Right? Nobody wants to feel anxious. Nobody wants to feel depressed. Nobody wants to feel frustrated or scared or anything like that. So how do you want to feel? And I'll take the words that they use and really focus on that and incorporate that into the entire session. So imagine feeling fulfilled. Imagine feeling the freedom that comes with happiness. Imagine feeling peace, and even pulling it in. So Where is that feeling? What does it feel like? What is it, what color is it? What color is happiness? What color is peace? Now bring it in. And as that comes into the body relaxes more, and Carla is then able to work her magic, as I would say. So.
That's great. So we've actually got Sherry. She's sharing her story. She's actually worked with you already. That Sherry has worked with these beautiful souls for over a year. Honestly, life-changing. I would never have healed mind, body, and soul. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing, and letting us know. Oh. And and she's saying, "Yep, please use me as an example." She's saying that Carla and Danae are the reasons that she got through her cancer journey with such ease and success. Awesome! That is fantastic news to hear. Thank you, Sherry, for sharing with us.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Sherry. It's an honor to be a part of your journey. It truly is. You're
wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, so I'll go back over to you, Carla. When discussing like balancing hormones and neurotransmitters and the immune system, so this I would think would tie in exactly with what Sherry was going through. That you were getting
absolutely,
at that level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you like to share a bit more about how that works?
Of course, it depends where the cancer is, for example, but cancer is an overgrowth of cells. And if there is a trauma in the body somewhere, or there is a blockage, so your lymph systems cannot clean that particular blockage, or the nerves don't go there anymore for whatever reason, then cells go rampant and cancer explodes, for example. So, and as I said, the BodyTalk system and the hypnotherapy system is non-invasive. We strictly do it with energy, and it's very effective to heal those things.
And if I can jump in for a second, there's always an emotion attached, right? So again, depending on where the cancer is, and thank you, Sherry, for letting us use this as an example.
Yeah, love you.
Yeah, totally. Generally, cancer is anger and resentment. You know, if it's in the breast cancer, it's a lot of grief and what are you holding on to? So as Carla is bringing that body back into balance, we use the hypnosis to release the emotion, right? Because it's all of those stored things in our body and our mind and our soul that create this physical ailment. And by the time it gets to our physical level, that's our body's way of yelling really loudly. Hey, this needs to be taken care of. Hey, you need to deal with this. Hey, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. And it's going to yell louder and louder and louder until finally you do. So by releasing the stored emotion, releasing that emotion, it truly creates a permanent healing. It doesn't just make it go away. It gets to the actual root of it. So Sherry worked really hard at her healing.
I have a perfect example of that. There was one girl that developed breast cancer, and the story behind it was, in the end, when she was a young teenager, one of her brothers walked into the bathroom and saw her small breast and said, "Oh, those are worthless. Man will hate those things," and walked out. And that affected her to such a degree that she developed all kinds of lumps and breast cancer because she was so ashamed of herself. So shame, that's another emotion, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the trauma, this is pure shame.
The shame, right? So bringing it back to that heart connection, that self, is you clear the emotions. Right? When you don't have shame, you're able to love yourself more. When you're not hanging on to grief and resentment, you're able to love yourself more. When you clear out all of those emotions that don't feel good, you then create space within your own self to fill them with good, wonderful emotions. And it has to start with you. It always has to start with you. If it doesn't start with you,
absolutely,
it's
that's what Sherry says too.
So far,
absolutely,
right? Yeah, absolutely. And that's a tough one that most of us struggle with, right? Absolutely. Yeah, it's like loving yourself. How do you feel about yourself?
Loving yourself.
loving
Yeah.
yourself. So that's how hypnosis has been such an impactful part for me in my journey. Is it's brought me back to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And body talk, right? Because my journey started with body talk.
Yeah.
My journey started with Carla, and then it led to the hypnosis, and now here we are. So.
And so on the at the Holistic Market and Psychic Fair, the demos that you do when you're both there, you don't get into the hypnotherapy side of it so much because it's quite an open public place.
Yeah.
So can you share a little bit about those demos? Or do you? Okay, yeah.
Oh, I still do the demos. Yes, yeah.
Carla does
sometimes
more than I do.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to do hypnotherapy because your friends and family are around you. It's noisy. People talk around you. It's too difficult. But I do the body. I do mini sessions, clearing and pointing out certain things if I feel it needs to be pointed out to people.
Right.
And I mean, I can put people into a little trance, but to get into that deep work like what Sherry experienced, we can't do that at the Holistic Market. That you need to come and see us in a one-on-one. But to put you into a little trance and show you what it's like, that's feasible. We can do that as long as we don't have to be in the booth, right?
I love hopping on that table.
Oh, yes.
I was sending everybody over after they're like, what just happened to you? I'm like, I just had a session with Carla and Danae, a sampling of it right here at the market. And they were just lining up to come see you guys after that. And they're actually free demos that you do offer at the market. So that's a nice bonus on coming down. You get a bit of a sampling and see if they feel comfortable with that to continue with the full session with you privately. Yeah, that is good.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can always enter in a draw. We've got a draw for a free session, right? A free one-on-one session at your table. So you can always just drop in your name and email, phone number. We always offer that at the market too. It's always fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. There are a lot of vendors that do provide door prize gifts at the tables, and you just see them. And if something is interesting to you, it's definitely a great way to get more in touch with people there too. So Danae, you were mentioning you actually have a couple of courses or workshops?
Events,
events.
workshops,
Yes.
Yeah, totally. So we have one, actually, it's called Transformative TLC, and this is all about, we focus on self-care, what it means to each and every person, where you'd like to take it, what you want to do with it. And I actually teach people how to use self-hypnosis. And, there's a lot of different methods to it. I personally love making a recording. We all have phones, we all have earbuds, and to make yourself a recording, to focus on whatever it is that you want. That's what we talk about at the meeting. Everybody gets an energy clearing, a little mini session of what Carla and I do. And this is actually super cool. It's spread out over 2 meetings, and we start this time we're starting on January 23rd, which is the new moon. New moon is a great time to start anything new. So it's, how do you want to enhance your self-care routine, or perhaps even start it? It's a great time to use the energy of the new moon to start that. And then we all meet again 2 weeks later. I believe it's on February 10th at the full moon to discuss what's come up, what's different, what have you noticed in the last couple of weeks, what are you ready to let go of. Full moon energy is wonderful for releasing. And again, everybody gets an energy session, hypnosis session at the meeting itself. Everybody gets 2 recordings throughout the entire event, 1 at each meeting. And that is such an incredible offer at only $80. And that includes both. So 2 energy clearings, 2 recordings, 2 mini hypnosis sessions for $80. And the other one we're offering is we've teamed up with Float Space, which is super cool. So people get a 60-minute float, and then they get a session with Carla and myself. It is a group session, but it is longer than the one at the Transformative TLC. It's about a 45-minute, 60-minute session, and people can choose to have their float first or their float after. And that's January 31st and February 1st. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So for the viewers who are watching this, even on the replay, perhaps afterwards you can pop in the details of that, and certainly share that in our Facebook group too. That's the tribe of the Holistic Market and Psychic Fair, because that's where the general public can go and get like this kind of information as
Awesome.
well on events and things that are
Lovely.
going on with our vendors that are happening outside of the actual market days.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
sounds
Yeah.
great.
It is. It's a lot of
So
fun.
that's starting this Thursday. So that's coming up in a couple of days. So we'll get those posted up for our viewers to see as well. So they can
Absolutely.
reach you and find out some more info about that, and even to register for it as well.
Absolutely. You can also find it all on my website too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I'll pop it on. I'll put it in both the tribe, and I'll list it in the comments below as well.
So I just popped up the website again, and so that's nayahypno.com, and I'll even put that in the comments right now too. So it'll be a nice, easy click and a link to go
Thank
get
you.
that info. Please open in a new tab though, so you don't lose us. Okay,
Yes.
and there that is. All right. Yeah, so that's just gone up there now. So
Cool. Thank you. I hope to
I
see
think,
you.
was there something that you'd like to add on to what we've been talking about already?
I don't think so, Carla.
I think we're pretty well covered it, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought so too, but
thank
I
you
thought
for
I would
having us. Yes.
I'd ask you first before I just said, "Hey, we're done."
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, no, wait a second.
No, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So just hang in the studio there. I'll come chat with you after. I'll just close
All right.
off. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, Carla. Bye, Danae.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
And so, so Carla and Danae, you can come and see them, as well as almost 50 vendors that will be at the February Holistic Market and Psychic Fair. It's coming up the last Sunday. Actually, it's a leap year this year. We have 29 days in February, but Sunday, February the 23rd, 11 to 4 at the Laurel Packing House, downtown Kelowna in Canada, BC. If you're in the Okanagan area, it's worth the efforts to come down and check us out. It is free admission, and we have vendors coming from all over the province. They're coming from Penticton, from OK Falls, they're coming from Vernon, they're coming from Kamloops, they're coming from Abbotsford. They're everywhere, and they're coming all into one spot here in central Kelowna, so that you have the benefits of being able to find them and chat with them and see what we're all up to. So thank you for watching, and we will be back again. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, actually, so it'll be a couple weeks before we come back on, and I will be posting, keep you notified about what's going on our vendor spotlights. Thank you again for watching. Have a great day, everybody.